Alrighty, guys, good evening, good evening. Let us know if you can hear us okay and see us okay. This is going to be our first severe weather briefing of 2025. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Ryan here alongside Caleb below me, Michigan Storm Chasers here. We have a few things to discuss, a few severe threats to discuss in particular for the state of Michigan. And as always, if you're new here, we do this 24/7, 365 briefings, coverage. We do it all here in the state of Michigan. Let's go ahead and dive right on in here and dive into the forecast. So, for those of you who do not know, we have a severe risk in place. Let's go ahead and go over the SPC. We're going to start with the SPC. We also do our own spin this year of these forecasts. We're going to go over the official forecast first to kind of give you guys what the official experts are thinking, then kind of give you guys our spin on things. So, first and foremost, this is going to be a familiar picture this year for you guys, severe weather outlook. These are hazards and colors related to severe weather risks across the US, put out by the Storm Prediction Center every morning, updated many times a day. We see a dark green color there from the UP all the way down through Mount Pleasant, or close to Mount Pleasant, Grand Rapids, Lansing through Hillsdale County area. Okay, that dark green area is a severe risk for damaging winds and large hail according to the SPC. All right, so that's your overall risk. It is much, much higher off to our south and west. We see yellow, orange, and red. The red color is a level 4. It goes up to level 5 on total. So down there in Illinois, Iowa, Missouri area, friends and family, if you guys got them down there, be sure to send them a text, give them a call. Severe weather is coming in your direction Friday evening. But for us up here, it's a low risk, level 1 out of 5. Let's go ahead and break it down what the SPC expects. So first and foremost, severe wind. They have us in a 5 to 14% severe wind. That's going to be your color brown, red color there. Now, with that, it's going to be just one risk, one level risk here from the SPC. There's no other risk or higher risk. It's off to our south and west again, Indiana, Illinois areas. Going to the tornadic risk, the 2% tornado risk does indicate a 2% really close to Berrien County there. It's just clipping Berrien County in far southwest. So technically it is in the state of Michigan, but overall concern for tornadic activity from the SPC is quite low at this time. And then last but not least, the hail threat here continues to monitor the west portion of Michigan, where we could see a few large hailstones in that time frame. So that is the official SPC outlook here. Now let's go ahead and dive into the model. The time frame of concern is going to be Friday late, so tomorrow night, not tonight, tomorrow night into the overnight hours. So looking at the short-term model here, we call it the HRRR, high resolution rapid refresh. We're going to go ahead and zoom into Michigan here. Actually, no, we'll leave it at the Midwest look here. Let's go ahead and flip this over to our composite reflectivity. So future radar. This is what it's going to look like, or what could look like throughout the next 36 to 48 hours. So moving into tonight, we're going to stay dry, and then starting off tomorrow morning, we could see a shower, perhaps rumble of thunder in the UP. Not going to be a big deal. But then attention turns to the west here. These storms in Iowa, Missouri, that is why they have such a high risk out there for severe weather. These storms are going to pack a punch. The environment's very favorable. That will continue to form into a line during the afternoon hours and push our direction towards the evening time frame. This model right here, this is at midnight tomorrow night into Saturday morning. That line of storms continues to push our way, arriving in the state of Michigan around that 2 or 3 a.m. time frame. So that is going to be the start time for these arrival of these storms. So 2 to 3 a.m. Saturday morning. So late Friday, early Saturday. Those will continue to push east-northeast across the state here. As it does so, we're going to go ahead and zoom into our Michigan look and take a peek at these storms. Some of these could be pretty intense in nature. We could have some gusty winds, perhaps some larger hail, maybe even a isolated tornado very far south and west, again, corner of the state. We'll talk about that here in just a second, but generally speaking, it will push northeast very quickly. These storms are going to move 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe even 70 miles per hour in nature. And as they do such, the wind shear, the instability, everything is there to support a minimal severe threat. Now, the ingredients for severe weather, we have the SLIM method: shear, lift, instability, and moisture. We have plenty of shear. This system is packed with shear. The instability is the big lacking factor, along with our moisture content. Those two will be the ones to watch very carefully into that time frame, because those are going to be limiting factors. If we have a lot more moisture and stability around, that will drive our risk upwards. But if we don't have enough around, it'll kind of mute the risk, so to speak. So we have a lot of wind shear. We don't have much moisture, not much instability. We also have a decent amount of lift here with that low pressure system. It's very strong, a lot of lift around that low pressure, get these storms up and going. So do expect there to be some tampering with the future forecast here as we kind of nail down better ingredients and such. But overall, go ahead and go through the ingredients with you guys here on stream. So first and foremost, your wind shear. The red color here is indicating very, very strong wind shear as these storms push northeastward. No concern with that. So wind shear, check it off, we have it. Now, as far as your instability goes, we call it surface cape or just instability. This is going to be, again, overnight period. We're seeing very minimal amounts across West Michigan here that will not really move, too far into the state, but we could have just enough around to support minimal severe weather there. We have a lot of upper level instability, so thunderstorm is definitely a possibility against some hail, but generally speaking, we need that surface instability to get strong wind gusts and perhaps even a tornado risk to develop, but not much of that showing up. As far as moisture goes, we do have dew points going to be right around the mid 50s range, especially toward that morning 3, 4, 5 a.m. time frame. It could be looking at mid 50 dew points across the state. Now, generally speaking, we want to see that between 60 and 70, but it is springtime, so it's not going to be an abundance of moisture, but it could be just enough to kind of sneak in that threat there overnight into the Saturday morning time frame. Then last but not least, the lift here. Again, with that low pressure system, we got plenty of lift in the area. We're not going to worry too much about that. These storms are going to get up and they're going to go. It's just going to be a matter of how strong they're going to be. And that is based off of the instability. So putting it all together for timeframes and our forecast thoughts, go ahead and start with the timeframes here, the time, arrival time, so to speak. We color code this map here with times on the left side of your screen. So arrival times for the southern UP and the western part of Michigan, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Expect storms to arrive. Go east into the yellow zone. That is 2 to 4 a.m. Saturday morning. Purple zone is going to be 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And then the orange zone after 4 a.m. Saturday is going to be the expectation there. Now, our forecast does call for a little bit more aggressive in nature than the SPC. We do feel a risk for severe winds as well as perhaps a tornado or two possible. It does exist there in the yellow zone for Kalamazoo, Holland, Coldwater, Niles area. A low risk then extends further north toward Grayling and the Thumb, Cass City, Lexington areas. And then further north of there in the blue, limited risk just for an isolated, perhaps strong wind gust or two. So the main concern for us is damaging winds. The secondary concern for a very specific area is a brief tornado, and that is going to be for exclusively that green portion there. Again, Holland, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Niles area. That has the best, that area, should I say, has the best potential for its instability and moisture overlapping to perhaps give us a brief tornado threat. Now, last but not least, we do have the wind gust map here. It correlates to the original outlook. Highest risk there in the southwest corner of the state, Kalamazoo, Coldwater, Niles area. A lower risk does extend further north toward that Traverse City, West Branch, Ovid, Flint, Detroit area. And then further north there in the green and gray, not much of a risk up there. Again, just a isolated damaging wind gust as a possibility. So that is the forecast for you guys for the Friday overnight into Saturday morning time period. We do have a secondary severe risk potential for Saturday afternoon here. I do not have, actually I do. 1 second. There we go. SPC map here does show a marginal risk for Lenawee, Monroe, Wayne counties. That could be a something to watch there for Saturday afternoon, as we could see a resurgence of our moisture return into the state, and that could also drive a severe potential. We do have a forecast out for Saturday as well. That looks like this. The far eastern half of the state is in a low risk, so that's like the Thumb back through Adrian areas. Further back west from Coldwater to Lansing up towards Sheboygan, we're seeing a limited risk for a potential isolated severe storm or two in that general area, but the risk for right now is highest in the east. And that's going to be, again, very dependent on how much moisture and instability builds back in after this morning round, because we have showers and storms working through early morning Friday or early morning Saturday. That could also play a factor in how Saturday afternoon plays out. So if we see a return to that moisture, we could see a severe threat develop. And also latest models do show that occurring, and potentially a little bit more concerning environment than Friday. But again, that's very uncertain at this time. We're going to let this play out, and then we're going to worry about Saturday. But just keep in mind, for Saturday afternoon, we could see a secondary severe threat in the eastern half of the state. All right, that is the overall forecast. Caleb, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Biggest takeaway is tomorrow's going to be a really beautiful day. We don't expect any thunderstorms in the state of Michigan tomorrow until evening. And then, especially after midnight tomorrow night, again, that 1, 2 a.m. is when we really expect to see some thunderstorms start moving into Michigan, especially Berrien County and points southwestward. And even southern UP, too, Gogebic and places over, could see starting to get some thunderstorms tomorrow night. That 1, 2 a.m. time frame is when we really start to expect more widespread thunderstorms. Again, the main hazard tomorrow night is damaging winds, and that is largely part to the fast storm motion that we have. Storms will be moving east-northeast at 60 to 70 miles per hour. Again, that's what you drive on the freeway, so these storms are going to be moving pretty fast.
Yep.
We have a lot of wind shear present. But because of that wind shear, we can't rule out a brief tornado, especially southwest Michigan there. This model in particular, the HRRR, really wants to pick out some stronger storms trying to develop there across that area mentioned previously. And that's because we just have a little bit more ingredients to work with down there. Again, not a lot, nothing significant, but there is a little bit more moisture, a little bit more surface instability to work with across southwest lower Michigan. So that's why we've included the possibility of a spin-up tornado. Again, spin-up tornadoes are often very brief, but they're not uncommon this time of year, especially early spring setups where you get these lines of storms moving through. You can get some embedded areas of rotation that develop on the leading edge of these storms. We call them QLCS spin-ups or mesovortices, or just quick little spin-ups. They happen brief, they happen quick. So that's another reason why we need multiple ways to receive warnings tomorrow night, just because of the fast nature of these storms. They're going to move fast, and the hazards will come fast with them. So with that being said, that's the main takeaway tomorrow night. But tomorrow during the day, enjoy the day. It's going to be the warmest day we've had all year in 2025. The entire lower peninsula of Michigan has the potential for being over 70 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
check that out.
7-0
Yeah, check that
tomorrow.
out.
Even the UP up in the Keweenaw Peninsula, all the way up to Eagle and Copper Harbor, could see 70 degrees. Now, you could have some lakeshore winds off of Superior that could cool the air down a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised to see temperatures overachieve there. I think this model is trending a little bit cold, just trying to take into account the cold lake waters. Again, our lake waters are in the 30s right now. So with that said, if you feel like going to the beach tomorrow, dipping your toes is about as far as you're going to go. Or at least that's as far as I would go. I wouldn't go any deeper than that. But yeah, beautiful day on tap tomorrow. Could get breezy. And that's another thing we need to talk about here briefly too. Again, warmest day of the year. But our moisture does not arrive until tomorrow night with these storms. We're going to have a very dry air mass tomorrow, and with that, there is an elevated fire danger for portions of Michigan tomorrow, especially the LP. Combination of very warm temperatures. Our grass is still dormant, it's still dry. We have a lot of dry underbrush as well, leaves, sticks, winter vegetation that is dry, right? We don't have any new spring growth yet. So we have a lot of dry material and a really good environment for fire tomorrow. So with that being said, burning not advised tomorrow. Gusty winds out of the south-southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, perhaps some afternoon gusts of 30. So all that considered, we could have an elevated fire danger tomorrow. And in fact, the Weather Prediction Center does have an elevated risk for fire tomorrow across portions of lower Michigan. So
We'll post
take
that as
that
well.
with a grain of salt. So burning is not advised tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll post on the page for you guys before we go to bed tonight, just so you guys have that map
Yep.
and can kind of see what we're referencing. I have a
Yep.
question in
So
chat
again,
here.
tomorrow, I mean, the big takeaway is tomorrow, don't expect any thunderstorms during the day. Get off work, go for a walk, get out the grill, enjoy it. It's not very often we get widespread 70s in March, especially early March. So enjoy it. But when you go to bed, have that way to receive warnings with you when you go to bed. Have the Red Cross app downloaded on your phone with the alerts on. That way, it'll ring and notify you if any warnings are issued tomorrow night. Again, the primary risk is damaging winds. We have a lot of wind shear. We have a lot of speed shear that these storms could tap into and potentially bring that to the ground in the form of damaging winds. Probably the main hazard, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour tomorrow with these stronger storms, and then some small hail potential too. We have that elevated instability, so that'll help sustain some updrafts. But if we have some surface instability, that'll also help get our clouds a little bit lower. Lower the clouds, the easier it is for these storms to bring those winds and hazards down to the ground. So that's something we're going to watch very carefully here over the next 24 hours as well. So again, a lot of moving parts with this system. It's a very dynamic system, as we like to call it. It's a loaded system, and yeah, it's going to bring multi-day hazards to the state of Michigan, whether it's windy conditions, thunderstorms, fire danger. It's got quite a bit hazards to go along with it.
Yeah, I was going to go off that and say for the people asking in the chat here for a good app or way to receive warnings, as Caleb just said, the Red Cross emergency app. I know a lot of our moderators have that prompt there on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go ahead and search on your App Store or Google Play for the Red Cross emergency app. That is a great app to have for the summertime severe weather. It'll alert you anytime a warning is issued for your location, or if you want to set it for a proximity of your location, it can alert you for like the next county over and stuff like that. So it's definitely a good tool to
Yep.
have.
Yep. But also make sure your settings, like even if your phone is turned off, make sure the settings are turned on appropriately. That way it'll override your phone when it's turned off and still alert you. Same with your emergency alert system too on your phone. Make sure that'll go off properly if warnings are issued at night. Again, this will be an overnight threat. Like we said, beautiful day tomorrow on tap. One of the best days we've had all year in terms of temperature and sunshine. But again, tomorrow night is when these storms are going to roll through when we're all sleeping. They'll start moving into the state 1 to 2 a.m. and then they'll exit the state around tomorrow morning, around morning rush hour is when these storms will be beginning to exit the state. And then we could have additional thunderstorms Saturday afternoon, especially across southeast and eastern portions of Michigan. So again, a couple days of thunderstorms here, a very spring system, bringing these warmer temperatures followed by thunderstorms. So a very typical early spring system. A tongue twister.
Have a couple questions in here. Will there be a lot of lightning with this? And the answer is probably not a
Yeah.
ton, but there will be enough to wake you up at night, so to speak.
Especially across the LP of Michigan and let's say the southern half of the LP could have the best potential. That's where there's better instability to work with for some lightning. But I think the entire state of Michigan has a chance of seeing lightning, with the best chances across the LP and points southward, especially the southern half of the LP has the best potential for seeing thunderstorms. Even some heavier thunderstorms with some heavy rain too. That's another hazard with these storms. Could have some heavy rainfall rates at times too. So.
Caden, good question about the 18Z HRRR. The 18Z HRRR model we use kind of showed a little bit higher risk for severe weather on Saturday. However, it is the only model currently showing that high of a risk. So right now it's what we call an outlier. It's not a forecast model we're going to pay attention to until we start seeing agreement from other models or repetitiveness from the HRRR itself. So Caden, good question there. We're not going to pay attention to it yet, but we have our eye on it.
Yep.
Again, the biggest threat across the entire risk area is damaging winds. And it's a pretty much an even Steven threat across the board. Exception there, go ahead and pull up our forecast, overall forecast. For the area further south and west there in the yellow zone, that's going to be where your highest concern is going to be. And that's going to be because moisture and instability is higher across that region as these storms arrive at 2 or 3 a.m. The further north and further east they go, the less and less favorable the environment becomes. So again, higher risk to the south and west there. But again, in that yellow zone, highest risk for winds, perhaps a brief tornado. Anywhere else, wind is going to be the main factor. And again, this is not a very high risk, so to speak. It's a pretty low end risk when all is put together. We have a lot of fail modes. We have a lot of ways this may not turn out to be much of anything. We have ways that it could turn out to be a decent event. So we'll have to kind of play by ear and kind of see how these storms trend, how our moisture looks, how our instability looks, and go from there. But as always, 24/7, 365, anything goes severe in the state, we're going to be here live streaming it for you guys. So do stay tuned to the page. Just like last year, we are 24/7, 365, did not miss a severe warning in the state. We plan to be the exact same way this year. So we'll be live here, no matter if it's at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. We're going to be here for it. Yep. Getting confused between Friday's weather and Saturday's weather. So Freedom, Friday night, we're going to say round one, starts around 1 to 2 a.m. in the morning. It moves out of the state by Saturday, 8 a.m. A brief break, and then potential round two Saturday afternoon after 2 or 3 p.m. or so for Eastern Michigan. Okay, so there's two potential rounds.
Round two, the main story for most of us. As these showers and thunderstorms move through, potentially bringing some gusty winds with them, or perhaps even a severe thunderstorm. But another thing to talk about too, I know, much like the last big system we had, um, if you guys are prone to headaches or migraines or something like that, it may not hurt to pack some Tylenol with you over the next couple of days. This is going to be a very big area of low pressure. It's going to bring a lot of wind with it, and it could affect those who have migraines easy or headaches easily as well.
That's a very
Just
good
keep
point
that in
too.
mind too.
Very
I
good
know a
point.
lot of people were mentioning that the last time we had a big system move through, so I thought I'd put that out there. Very similar system in terms of pressure. It's going to be a little bit further to our west than what the last one was, but it could still bring gusty winds and could affect those with headaches or migraines, um, or people susceptible to those symptoms. So,
Yeah, this is forecasted to be a low pressure down to about 975 millibar. That's a pretty strong low
yeah,
pressure system for this time of year. And also with these stronger low pressures, we get a lot of wind with it, as noted here. When you see these black lines closer together, they're called isobars. That is indicating we're going to have some pretty strong pressure gradients, which is very strong wind as well. So yeah, if you
yep,
if you are a human barometer, as we like to call them here, you are going to have probably some headaches to deal with here over the next 36
yep.
hours.
Yep, you can kind of see how those lines are perpendicular to the southwest and northeast. What you can't see on this map is an area of high pressure that's currently over us today. That's why today is such a nice day. That high pressure is going to move out over the Atlantic, but it's also going to squeeze those millibars together, those pressure gradients, and kind of create a wind tunnel right through Indiana and Michigan and kind of bring those heavier winds our direction. You can kind of see how they're aimed to the southwest and northeast. So that's kind of the orientation of where our wind's going to come from, and it's also going to help warm us up tomorrow, too. This is our conveyor belt bringing us all the warm temperatures that are down by the Gulf of Mexico, southern United States. It's going to help transport that northward. And we're going to warm up rather quickly tomorrow, too. Everybody by probably mid afternoon will be in the 70s. So, with the exception of some lake influenced colder air for portions of the UP, or along the lake shore. But it's going to be a warm day tomorrow. Very warm. Some near record high temperatures for some areas as well. So, a lot of maple trees may start to bud out, too. Yeah, the eclipse is tonight too. That's 2:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when it's expected to peak over our area. We could have some decent viewing, really, for a lot of us. Portions of northern Michigan, northern half of the LP, could have some cloud cover the fight. But a lot of the clouds that'll be moving in are what's called high level clouds, meaning like your cirrus clouds or thinner clouds. So a lot of us will be able to see through those thinner clouds and still see the moon tonight. So something to look forward to. Again, better conditions the farther south and southeast you go. Southeast lower Michigan should have great viewing conditions, despite a few cirrus clouds up there. But yeah, should be pretty good. If you guys are up at 2:58 in the morning and snap a picture, send it in to us because I'm still debating if I'm going to wake up at 2:50 in the morning. I don't know if I will or not because I know people are going to send pictures. But if you guys have any other questions or anything, put them in the chat. Let us know. We're here for you. Again, this is really the first severe weather risk that the state of Michigan has had this year in 2025. Again, we've already had one severe thunderstorm warning for the season. Just the other day, we actually had a severe thunderstorm warning from Monroe County while we had blizzard warnings in the UP. Kind of a paradox there, but it happened. Only in Michigan, right? So, again, tomorrow we may see a repeat tomorrow night. Again, primarily Saturday morning is really the wording or the timing that should be promoted here. Again, a lot of the storms won't move in until 1, 2 a.m. Saturday morning. So after we go to bed, it'll be dark outside. So another reason to have multiple ways to receive warnings. You're not really going to see these storms coming like you would during the day. It's going to be dark outside. Um, so have those ways to get warning. In case a warning is issued by the National Weather Service, you guys have that. You're prepared. You know where to go, and you're ready to get there.
I'll also see a couple comments about the sunset, and we do have our camera in Dearborn rolling, and yeah, it's looking orange out
Yeah,
there. So good sunset alert going out here momentarily. Probably another 15 minutes or so. Probably gonna be a beautiful sunset.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on strong tornadoes? Not likely in the
Very
state of
low.
Michigan. If you're talking down south and west of us, there's potential for strong tornadoes, but up here in Michigan, no, not concerned for that.
Yeah, any tornado risk that we see here in the state of Michigan tomorrow, or tomorrow night rather, will be very brief. They're what we call spin-up tornadoes, where there's not a lot of instability or not a lot of ingredients coming together to support long-lived tornadoes. In this kind of a setup, you get little kinks that develop on the leading edge of thunderstorms, and they're called mesovortices, and these spin up really quickly, but they also dissipate really quickly just because they're shallow rooted. They're not very deep. They're real shallow, so they spin up quick and they dissipate quick as well. So brief spin ups are possible, but that's mainly towards southwest lower Michigan is really where the best dynamics are for that, and it's not high. I'll reiterate that. I mean, the risk for tornadoes is not high tomorrow in the state of Michigan at all, but the risk is non-zero nonetheless, so it needs to be communicated that way. There's a lot of wind shear. We call these setups, low cape, high shear, meaning there's not a lot of instability, but there's a lot of wind shear, both in speed and directional, both important for tornadoes and severe weather. But if you're missing an ingredient, think of it like you're baking a batch of cookies, right? If you don't have brown sugar, your chocolate chip cookies aren't going to taste very good. So, I mean, if you have all the other ingredients, you have, your eggs, you have your butter, you have all that, but you don't have brown sugar. I mean, what are the odds? I mean, your parents are going to eat the cookies or your kids. I mean, not very well, right? So we need to have all the ingredients together to really get severe weather. We call it the slim factor, which is shear, instability, lift, and moisture, or lift, instability, moisture, which we have a lot of wind shear. In fact, the wind shear is off the charts, which is not uncommon for these early spring systems. These spring systems pack a lot of wind shear, but we don't have a lot of instability. So with that being said, instability is our limiting factor. You can only go as far as what your limiting factor is. Think of it like filling a barrel with water. You can only fill it as full as your limiting factor. If one slat is lower than all the rest, no matter how much water you put in there, you're never going to fill it all the way up. Same thing in weather, right? If you don't have all the ingredients come together, it's going to be really hard for the atmosphere to overachieve to overcome that limiting factor. So with that being said, lack of instability would be our biggest limiting factor tomorrow. So long-lived tornadoes, really not a big risk. Primary risk, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, especially for the western half of Michigan, southwest lower in particular, and then followed by a brief spin-up tornado. So,
Airborne Spore, thank you for the $10 super chat. It says, passed my spotter network test yesterday. Thanks for all the updates your team provides. You are more than
good
welcome.
deal, man.
Congratulations on passing your test, too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Time frame for tomorrow. So technically, we can say tomorrow night, but it actually happens early Saturday morning. So we're looking at
Mhm.
late Friday, but it starts, technically speaking, about 2 or so a.m. on Saturday. And I can throw the time map up there for you guys as well. This is going to be your time frames. Go ahead and take the ticker off the screen. There we go. So you take a screenshot of this. It's also posted on our Facebook page. I'll go back and reference it. But after 1 a.m. is when we expect storms to arrive in western Michigan or in the southern part of the UP. It'll get later the further east you get. But these storms are going to move pretty quickly. So they'll fly pretty quickly across the state. So it won't take long to get to you guys.
Yeah, a lot of these storms will be moving at close to freeway speeds, close to what, well, most people drive on 94. Some people drive way faster than they should.
We're not going to talk about
But
that.
these storms will be moving anywhere between 60 and 70 miles an hour. So fairly fast. We have a lot of speed shear in the atmosphere tomorrow. So go up a couple thousand feet off the ground. Winds are near 80 miles an hour. They're going to be moving very, very fast. So these storms that tap into that will be racing across the state between 60 and 75. So they'll be moving pretty fast. So don't be surprised if you wake up to thunder and the next minute, it's over. So. But again, these storms should be out of the state by tomorrow morning, probably around the 7 to 8 a.m. time frame, perhaps a little bit later. But the bulk of the severe weather will be out of here by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So it's going to be an overnight risk. So work morning commute should be perfect. Shouldn't have any worries for your early morning commute, especially after 7 o'clock in the morning. There could still be some lingering showers and thunderstorms prior to 7 o'clock in the morning. But we'll be up all night tomorrow night monitoring to the severe weather and thunderstorms in case any of them do get an attitude. We'll be here to talk about it. So,
I also just want to point this out as well for friends and family across the United States. We do have a
yeah.
moderate risk in place for portions of Iowa, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri, as well as an enhanced risk there in orange that extends even further around that. The risk for tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail is very high off to our west tomorrow evening. So if you have friends and family who happen to live in that orange, especially in that orange and red area, give them a text, give them a call. It'd be a good idea to get them aware if they are not aware of the potential severe threat here. Uh, Ironically, March 14th is also the anniversary of our outbreak of tornadoes last year across Indiana and Ohio. So this day is not a. I don't want to say it's a bad day for it to happen again, but a lot of people have, I guess you can say,
It resonates with
PTSD from this
people.
day. A lot of people
Yeah.
remember this day from last year. So um, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but just shoot a text for loved ones and family out to the west and southwest, as that risk is quite high out there. And also for
Yeah.
those of you who specifically live in the state of Indiana, Caleb and I will probably begin our coverage of severe weather tomorrow evening as these storms push into Indiana first. Of course, we're going to drop Indiana for Michigan once Michigan goes severe, but we're likely going to start streaming for Indiana here as these storms arrive roughly around that midnight time frame for Indiana as well. So if you guys have friends and family, direct them over to our alternative page, Indiana Chasing or Indiana Storm Chasing Network. It is a black and red logo on Facebook. We'll be covering it live as much as we can before we have to switch over to Michigan.
Yep. So we'll go back to the comments here to see if we have any other questions here or concerns. Feel free to put those out here. We'll be here to answer them for you here.
Yeah, the winds alone on Saturday afternoon, 40 to 50 miles per hour possibility, even without storms. And yes, we get to a higher end 50-mile-an-hour gust. Isolated outages could be a possibility, even without storms throughout the day on Saturday. So it'll be really gusty on Saturday, regardless if we get any storms on a round two basis.
Yeah.
Yes, the live stream, or actually no, live stream for Indiana will not be shared to Michigan. It will have to go to the account directly to follow the Indiana page. We will, however, for Michigan coverage, we will be posting it on our accounts. No worries about that. The hail threat overall, Mike, is quite low in nature, we feel. SPC does have that 5% risk out there, although we don't really see that high of a risk. We didn't really want to mention it just because we personally don't really think it's a big factor. But yes, the SPC
Yeah,
does have a
really
slight
limited
risk.
on our instability. That's just like we need instability for tornadoes, we also need them for hail. We need to get those updrafts up there and we need to get them more pronounced. Um, Being that this will be kind of more of a linear setup, more of a line setup, squall lines aren't really big hail makers. Um, what we need for hail is discrete cells to get those updrafts isolated. Now, we could have some hail within squall lines. Generally, they're small, dime to nickel size, but they're sub-severe typically. But I wouldn't be surprised, if we get a isolated storm with a stronger updraft, could perhaps have some quarters. But I think a lot of that will be limited to southwest lower if we do see any of those. But not a big risk overall. Yeah, beautiful sunset out there. Sunset alert for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Might have some dust in the atmosphere tonight helping us with that orange color.
Yep.
So very pretty summer-like sunset there too.
Yeah, past couple of days been really pretty.
Yeah, they really have.
Hearing things could be bad for Saturday in Mississippi, Alabama. Andrew, that is correct, although we're not going to really talk about that too much here, focusing on Michigan. But yeah, we'll talk about that if we need to tomorrow. But Saturday could be a repeat for the Dixie Alley area in terms of a high end severe event.
Yeah. A lot of people will know more tomorrow
Mhm.
to see how round one, how the storms today or tomorrow will affect the storms down there this weekend. It's kind of a two-part system. You have first part moving through the upper Midwest tomorrow into tomorrow night, and then round two affecting the lower Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and Dixie Alley on Saturday. So kind of a two-part system here, but there's a relationship there. Part two really depends on part one, and vice versa. So we really need to get through part one before we focus on round two. Just because we need to see how the atmosphere recovers and what ingredients are left over. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, cold fronts come through this weekend, but we do stay above average though for a few weeks, so that's some good news. But tomorrow would definitely be the warmest day of the week and the warmest day of the year so far. The entire state of Michigan has a chance of being at or above 70 degrees tomorrow, which is quite significant for this time of year. A little bit cooler temperatures for those of you near the lakes. Again, our lake waters, if you're thinking about going swimming tomorrow, I mean, it might be tempting. 75 will feel like a heat wave after, you know, having snow showers and wind chills below zero just a couple weeks ago. But water temperatures, we checked them. They're in the 30s, so they're colder than your well water at home. So they're pretty cold. Well water comes up at about 52, 55 degrees, but lake water is in the 30s.
I have a couple questions here about Saturday part two maps. We do have a map that we made, generally speaking, for the overall risk. Now, as Caleb said, part two, even for Dixie Alley, same up here for us. Part one and part two kind of go hand in hand. So we can't really get a good feel for Saturday until we kind of see how part one plays out. But I can say the risk would be highest if one does develop in the eastern portion of Michigan during the afternoon on Saturday, where you see that green color, the low risk area. And based on latest model guidance, if it continues to trend the way it is trending today, we'll likely have to increase that further. But again, very low confidence. Let's let part one play out before we have to worry about part two. But keep in mind, East Michigan could get another round Saturday afternoon after the overnight period.
Yeah. Think of like Monroe, Lenawee, and points northward towards the thumb, towards Saginaw and eastward. Could see some highest probability of some thunderstorms, some strong tomorrow. But again, all that's dependent on atmospheric recovery. Like Ryan said, we need to get through round one first and see how the atmosphere recovers. If we're not able to recover and the cold front comes through, the severe risk is over. But if round one gets out of there and we're able to destabilize and warm up, then we could be talking some stronger storms. But again, that's all dependent on what happens tomorrow or what happens Saturday.
Julie says, "Oh, come on, guys, don't want to take a polar plunge with me?" Not really, Julie. Not really.
I mean, if you do it, take a video of it and send it to us. We'll
Let's,
watch you do it. I mean, I may not do it, but I'll watch you do it.
we'll watch and we'll laugh at you.
Yeah. But again, be careful with that also. I mean, a lot of the lakes still have ice on them too, so be very cognizant of that. Be very cautious. There's some pancake ice, especially on Superior still, and a little bit on Michigan as well. So do be careful. Again, hypothermia can set in very, very quickly. So be smart with it if you do go near the water.
Is it showing uptrending for tomorrow? Ashley asks. So right now, you can kind of say today uptrended just a bit for us, but overall, not a very high
It's
uptrend.
really running on par with what was
Yeah.
expected or forecasted for the most part. Again, being that it's gonna occur so late tomorrow in the afternoon, we have most of the day tomorrow to really look at, I guess, the overall dynamics to see what ingredients are actually coming together compared to what is forecasted on guidance models. So we have that time and ability tomorrow to do that. We don't always have that during severe weather events, but tomorrow we do. So we're still a little ways out of it. I know a lot of times when we do severe weather briefing, it's for something that's going to happen directly tomorrow, but that's not the case. This is actually going to happen Saturday morning. It's weird to say that on a D2 outlook, but this actually isn't going to happen on Friday. It's going to happen after midnight. So technically, Saturday morning in the 1 to 2 a.m. So we have all day tomorrow to really finalize things to see how that trend is holding. But for right now, the biggest takeaway, some gusty showers and thunderstorms could move into southwest lower Michigan in the 1 to 2 a.m. time frame Saturday morning. Again, 60-mile-an-hour winds is the primary hazard. And these storms will gradually weaken with northward and eastward extent. So the further north and east they go, they're going to run into a less favorable environment. And yeah, we will go live tomorrow night, probably before the event. We'll give you guys another update here. And then we will go live if a severe thunderstorm warning is issued as well. So we'll be here all night monitoring storms again. We'll probably be live for Indiana first tomorrow night, probably anywhere between 11 p.m. Friday and 12 a.m. Saturday. And then once storms reach Berrien County, And if we see that transition and we do see severe weather occurring, we'll switch over operations to MSC. And so we got you covered all night. So don't worry about that. We'll be here. Nobody's going to go to sleep tomorrow night.
If you're an anxious person who wants to watch and kind of track it with us, feel free to hop on the Indiana account
Yeah.
and stay up with us. We love you guys as company. We're also just
Yep.
starting off in the Indiana account, so we're expecting more so of a quieter chat. So if you guys want to come hang out with us, you're more than welcome to.
Yep. Again, no significant severe weather expected tomorrow. Again, some of these storms mainly just having the risk for gusty winds. Again, a lot of wind shear tomorrow, but a widespread outbreak is not forecasted tomorrow for Michigan, so don't worry about that. The worst of the storms will be far to our south and west, Illinois, Missouri, Iowa, and southwestern Indiana. There's better ingredients down there. Again, we talked about the slim factor, shear, lift, instability, and moisture. Those ingredients are in more abundance down there in those locations. That's also why the Storm Prediction Center has that 4 out of 4 risk for Illinois, Missouri, and an enhanced risk for Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa. So, again, better ingredients further to the south, lesser ingredients the further north and east you go, but nonetheless, some gusty winds could make their way into Michigan, especially southwest lower Michigan. And we'll keep an eye on the trends and how data trends tomorrow as well. So if anything changes, if there's any shifts, and shifts could happen north, south, east, and west, they could shift into Michigan, but they could also just as easily shift out of Michigan too. So again, these trends will have to be watched over the next 24 hours as we prepare for thunderstorms. Again, beautiful sunset there too. Wow.
Yeah, I see Julie in our
Sunset
moderation
alert for
chat.
sure.
Moderation chat's like, show the sunset, show the sunset. So there you guys go. And
Absolutely.
this is actually live right now. If you go to YouTube and search Michigan Weather Network, that's our alternative account.
Yep.
We're doing a lot of testing with our weather cameras here. It's live. It's been live for about 24 hours now. Feel free to go check in on it day to day. It'll be streaming, so feel free to go take a peek. This is in Dearborn. We'll have more. We have a camera going in tomorrow. I'm not going to say where just yet, but we have numerous other cameras going in across the state. So we're excited to get a network of these cameras built for you guys, so you can watch sunsets, sunrises, storms, and even aurora. So
Yep.
go ahead and pop that back off. Red Dozer with a super chat, $20. Hubby's a long hauler. Will be coming up from Arkansas tomorrow. Not liking this. Well, again, if you're early tomorrow, you should be okay. The later you get,
Yeah.
especially further south there in Arkansas, a little bit earlier start time potentially for you guys further south. But generally speaking, it's still going to be a later event. So if you can get through, or if he can get through that area by the time he hit the sunset time frame, he should be okay.
Yep.
And also, thank you, Red, for that super chat. Appreciate your support. Will the eclipse be visible overnight tonight? Yes, that is happening
Absolutely.
tonight. There we go.
Yep.
Felt
So
that
the
one coming up
eclipse
for a
is
while.
while Ryan's choking, I'll go ahead and take over here. Yeah, the eclipse will actually be visible over the all of North America. In fact, the whole Western Hemisphere will be able to see it from South America, North America. The biggest thing tonight is clouds. Most of Michigan is going to be okay. We're going to be able to see it. Portions of the UP and northern lower could have a few more clouds to contend with. Again, some thicker clouds perhaps. So hit or miss up there. Like think anywhere from Mount Pleasant, Roscommon, and points northwestward could have a few more clouds. But the further south and east you go, the better the skies will be. It could have some high-level cirrus clouds come in. Those are the thin, wispy clouds that are high up there. But those are so thin in nature, the moon should shine right through. Again, very bright moon tonight, full moon. Once we get into the eclipse time frame, again, it peaks at 2:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And a lunar eclipse is different from a solar eclipse. So we remember the solar eclipse we had last year on April 8th. That is when the Earth casts a shadow, or sorry, the moon casts a shadow on the Earth, and it's a daytime event. This is a lunar eclipse, so this is happening at night. This is when the Earth casts a shadow on the moon. So a complete opposite, right? So solar eclipses happen during new moons. Lunar eclipses typically happen during full moons. So the moon is going to pass between the Earth, so it's going to pass into the umbra of the Earth, which is Earth's darkest shadow, and as the moon passes in, it's going to become very red, and then eventually a very deep red, a mahogany red, as we're in the umbra of the Earth, and that's because it's Earth's darkest shadow. So think of it like light. So light has different wavelengths, right? So sunsets are orange and not blue like we have during the day, because those wavelengths, reds and your deeper colors, are a lot longer wavelengths. So as those deeper, just think of it like a sunset on the moon. That's really what it is. So you have those longer wavelengths hitting the moon, but your blues, your yellows, your shorter wavelengths don't make it. They get scattered out because we're in the shadow. So that's really what's going to happen tonight. So pretty cool stuff. But everyone should be able to see it. If you're up at 2:58 in the morning, let me know. Take a picture. I'm still debating if I'm going to be up that early or not.
We'll be up
But
that early.
yeah, everyone will be able to see it.
We're gonna be doing a late night weather model watching session. We'll probably play some putt putt golf, and then we'll probably head outside to take a peek at the moon.
Well, hey, there we go. I might join in. You just had to say putt putt, and hey, I'm all ears.
For those of you who don't know, we have a Discord server where you can play putt putt on. It's a mini game, and a lot of our
Yeah.
staff and moderators happen to hop on late at night watching models. We all like to hang out together, so that's an inside thing here. We'll probably do a lot of
Now's your
public.
time to make a truce with me, and we can all go against Ryan with all the gimmicks and stuff,
Oh
right?
goodness. But yeah, we'll have you guys can come in and join us too. We'll probably do a lot of public game nights this year on Discord. So if you guys happen to enjoy Discord, feel free to hop on our server.
Yeah, that's actually we got one comment in here. Scroll back down.
Before we do that, I want to say shout out to $5 super chat from Lexi. How is Maple Rapids looking for tornadoes? Could you play the radar again for Saturday morning? Yes, I can. Caleb, go ahead and find that comment and hold it.
What was that?
Your comment, which one was it? You see it or no?
Well, I don't see it anymore.
Okay. So for the overall tornadic risk for Maple Rapids, low. It's I'm not going to say it's zero, but it's pretty low. So Maple Rapids for the round one, really only one round in general. Go ahead and pop open the radar here for you. Run this through back to 18Z. There we go. Maple Rapids, we're going to see around 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start seeing storms push up your direction. By the time we get to that 4 to 5 a.m., they should be completely over you in the Maple Rapids area. Damaging winds is going to be the only concern, not a very high concern at all. Regardless, tornado risk would be highest off to your south and to your west.
Primarily a heavy rain threat, followed by some gusty winds up there in Grand Rapids. But if that changes or trends different, we'll let you know. So,
thank you, Mike, for the $2 super chat. Appreciate your support.
yeah, brief recap here for you guys joining in. Again, we do have a severe risk in the state of Michigan tomorrow. Actually, primarily Saturday morning, rather. Thunderstorm, watching for a line of thunderstorms and showers to move into the state of Michigan between the 1 and 2 a.m. time frame. After that, these storms will slowly progress, or not slowly, rather quickly progress eastward across the state of Michigan, posing a threat for gusty winds and damaging winds. And there's Ryan Harriet, everybody. Taking it full there. Back to Weather Bell here. Again, this is gotta gain my thoughts here. It's funny. This is around 4 a.m. here, Saturday morning. Again, widespread rain and thunderstorms across the majority of the LP of Michigan. Again, some of those linear segments or those lines that you see there, some bowing segments, could have a threat for gusty winds. Again, that's the primary threat tomorrow night is damaging winds. Again, 60 miles per hour. Don't really see anything too more significant than that. There could be embedded wind gusts of 60 in some of the stronger cells. But as these storms progress, again, as we move throughout the evening here, there's 4 a.m. and then 6 a.m. Again, widespread showers and thunderstorms. But as we move through about, once we get to 8 a.m. in the morning, most of the heaviest bands of showers and thunderstorms are out of the state. We're going to start clearing out. So if you're on the eastern half of the state, morning commute could have some moderate to heavy rainfall and perhaps some thunderstorms. It'll be really close to see how far those gusty showers are tomorrow morning, on how far they progressed. Again, a lot of the severe weather risk tomorrow is determined on how strong and how mature these the squall line can get. It's going to start out in Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois as individual cells, and then they're going to grow upscale into a line, or what we call a QLCS, which is a fancy term for a quasi-linear convective system, which is a big fancy term for a line of showers and thunderstorms. A line of shower and thunderstorms will move across the state, bringing the threat for gusty winds and perhaps maybe some small hail. The tornado risk is very low across the state, again, non zero, with the greatest risk across southwest lower Michigan. And a lot of that is dependent. It's a very, I guess, hit or miss risk, right? It all depends on how these storms evolve, how they mature, and all in all, what ingredients do we have in place tomorrow night? Again, a lot of our latest guidance is hinting at just enough ingredients to perhaps pose a risk for a spin up tornado. But again, it'd be very weak in nature, and again, damaging winds would be the primary risk. A lot of our better ingredients are off to the south and west across Illinois, southern Indiana, and Missouri and Iowa. So that is your quick recap. Again, tomorrow, don't expect any thunderstorms tomorrow. Again, tomorrow is going to be very dry, very warm, almost hot. It may feel hot to some people as we get into even the upper 70s across the southern half of the LP of Michigan. Could get upwards of 75 degrees, with the entire state of Michigan up to 70 degrees, including the UP of Michigan. All the way up to Copper Harbor, 70s are possible. Maybe not quite the 70 in Copper Harbor as you're sticking out in Superior. Again, Superior's waters are cold. They're in the 30s. So you could have that lake influence here, cooling the air temperatures along the lakeshore. And that also goes along Lake Michigan as well. Could have a little bit of lake influence there, some colder temperatures on the immediate lakeshore. But all in all, most of the state of Michigan will be above 70 degrees tomorrow with the onset of our weather system that'll be moving in tomorrow night. But also, with that said, burning is not advised. We mentioned this earlier at the beginning of the stream. We do have a fire risk that is in effect for a decent portion of the LP of Michigan tomorrow. Again, a combination of really warm temperatures, a lot of dry underbrush, right? Our grasses, our leaves, our brush are dry. We haven't entered the growing season yet, so not a lot of new vegetation is growing right now. So we have a lot of underbrush that's dry, so the kindling is right for fires. And then the gusty winds that we have tomorrow out of the southwest and northeast could help promote or rekindle any fires that are not put out. So do keep that in mind. Burning is not advised tomorrow. But other than that, enjoy the sunshine tomorrow. Ultimately, after get off work, get out the grill some burgers. It's going to be a great evening for that. And then before you go to bed, make sure that Red Cross app is downloaded. That way, if any warnings or watches are issued, you're notified. You're in the know. And then we'll be here watching radar all night to make sure none of the storms get an attitude. And if they do have an attitude and go warmed, we'll go live and we'll cover those for you from beginning to end. So,
and also we do have all automated warnings, tornado, severe, will be posted to the page. So if anything does get issued, our page and also our X account will automatically post it. So you'll know about it from our feed ASAP.
Yep. So turn your notifications on for the page to get notified whenever new posts come on.
Yes.
That way you can see new forecast updates and warnings when they're posted.
If you are watching on the Facebook platform right now, if you type in chat exclamation point and then the word notify, Facebook will automatically notify you anytime we go live. So we only go live usually for briefings like this or coverage. So we try to reserve our live streams for more serious stuff. So that's why we kind of push more. So also on YouTube, notification bell is also a thing there on YouTube. When I click that, you can also be notified here as well. So Facebook, it's exclamation point, then the word notify. It's all one smushed together, no spaces. And that will also trigger a notification for you anytime we go live on Facebook. But also on YouTube, you do have that notification bell available to you.
Yep.
Just click it and then go ahead and click the bell. It should prompt you for all alerts. So.
Yep.
And Caleb, we are closing in here on 8 o'clock here as we have a live camera or a live clock on our screen now, which is another upgrade for the year. So we're going to wrap things up here. So if you want a recap of what's going on, I would suggest go ahead and flip back to the very first 15 minutes or so of the stream. The first 2 or so minutes is an intro. So go about 2 minutes in. That's when we start talking about the risks and the time frames and all that. We go over the SPCR forecast, put it all together, and talk about what to expect. But we are at 8 o'clock now. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. So again, be aware, tomorrow will be nice 70-degree day or higher for most of us in Michigan. The severe weather risk would happen overnight into Saturday morning. So tomorrow's going to be pleasant, no rain expected. And then again, risk begins around that 2 a.m. time frame Saturday morning. We'll keep you guys updated on the page tomorrow. Stay tuned to our updates. We'll keep you guys posted on all of that. So before we pop out of here, one last look at our Dearborn cam. And again, sunset out there is beautiful. It's rolling live here. And it's going to be on Michigan Weather Network YouTube account. Feel free to go pop in, check it, subscribe to that channel. It is our channel. We're going to run camera networks on probably 24/7. Probably run a few on our account here on YouTube as well. So, with that being said, we're going to have a shout out to the spotlight sponsor of today's video here. Let's go ahead and pop this in. We're going to go with Kuiper Tree Care. Kuiper Tree Care is based out of the Grand Rapids area. They provide all sorts of tree care from trimming, cutting, all sorts of stuff. 616-828-8225 is the number to call. And thank you to Kuiper Tree Care for sponsoring this video. Also, shout out to our sponsors who are not a spotlight today, but do continue to sponsor us. We got StormGuard Roofing Construction, we got Pro Powder, we got Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, we got McKay Tree Specialists. We also got Lifestyle Exteriors, Cass Roofing and Siding, Gull Lake Tree Pro, as well as FBI Buildings. All of our sponsors are on our website. If you want to learn more about them, feel free to go to michiganstormpictures.com and click on the sponsors tab. With that being said, I believe we are going to pop out of here. Caleb, anything you want to say to wrap this up?
I don't think so, other than stay with us here for the latest updates. Again, we'll watch trends throughout the day tomorrow, and we'll post forecast updates leading up to tomorrow's event. Other than that, enjoy the sunshine tomorrow. Bottom line, enjoy the warm temperatures tomorrow. Go for a walk, go for a hike, be outside tomorrow, enjoy it. And then have a way to get warnings tomorrow night. But with that being said, great hanging out with you here. We'll continue to watch trends, post updates, and then we will also be live tomorrow night if or when any storms go severe to keep you covered. So with that being said, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.
As Caleb said, we'll see you next time. We'll post our forecast around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys tomorrow.